The galaxy had a saying, never hire a human unless you want trouble to follow you home. Ambassador Jorvik 9 of the Valorian Collective had dismissed that saying as xenophobic nonsense. He was a diplomat, after all, a being of reason, nuance, and civilized understanding. He had studied 47 species across 12 star systems. He believed in cooperation, in mutual respect, in the essential goodness of sapient life. He hired Mara Ellison on a Tuesday. By Wednesday, he understood the saying completely. Mara stood exactly 1.7 meters tall, unremarkable by human standards, laughably small by galactic ones. She had dark brown skin, close-cropped hair, and eyes the color of old copper. She carried herself with the kind of absolute stillness that Jorvik 9 had previously only seen in apex predators waiting to strike. She had applied for the bodyguard position with a resume that listed, former Earth Special Operations. Conflict zones, 17. Survived, all 17. Current mood, employable. You are quite small, Jorvik 9 had said during the interview, his 4 amber eyes blinking in mild concern. His previous bodyguard, a Drathian warrior standing nearly 3 meters tall, had recently retired after what he described as too many near-death experiences for one career. Mara had looked up at him calmly. Yes. The individuals who wish to harm me are considerably larger. Good, she said. Bigger targets. He hired her on the spot. The first real test came on the moon station of Kareth 4, during the trade summit of the Outer Rim Consortium. Jorvik 9 had been navigating delicate negotiations between the VOG Merchant Guild and the crystalline peoples of the Shivering Expanse, a discussion worth approximately 400 trillion credits in trade rights. Naturally, someone wanted him dead. The assassins, 3 of them, hired by a rival faction, chose the corridor outside the Grand Hall at precisely the worst moment, when Jorvik 9 was alone except for Mara, returning from a private consultation. The lead assassin stepped from the shadows. He was Drevathi, a species renowned galaxy-wide for their combat instincts, standing nearly 2.5 meters of dense muscle and reinforced bone. His 2 companions flanked him, energy blades already humming. Ambassador, the Drevathi said pleasantly. This is where your negotiations end. Jorvik 9 felt all 4 of his heart stutter simultaneously. He had faced death before, diplomatically. In contracts. In strongly worded communiques. This was the other kind, and he found he did not enjoy it. He looked at Mara. She was already smiling. It was not a warm smile. It was the smile of a creature who had grown up on a planet that tried to kill everything on it every single day, and had enjoyed the challenge. 3 of you, she said, rolling her neck slowly. The soft pop of joints echoed in the corridor. That's almost enough to make it interesting. The lead Drevathi laughed, the low, rumbling laugh of someone who outweighed his opponent by 400 kilograms. Little human. Do you know what we are? Drevathi. Apex warriors of the outer spiral. Mara tilted her head. I've read about your species. Bone density 3 times baseline galactic average. Reflex response rated at 0.18 seconds. Thermal vision. She paused. You fought your last war 60 years ago. Against the Pelori, herbivores. The Drevathi's laugh faded slightly. I, Mara said, come from a planet that invented war as a hobby. What followed lasted 11 seconds. Jorvik 9 would later try to describe it to his staff physician, who was treating him for shock-related tremors, and would find that his memory of those 11 seconds was fragmentary, more sensation than image. The blur of Mara moving. The sound, very specific, very final sounds. The 3 Drevathi assassins, each one enormous, each one renowned, hitting the floor in sequence like buildings being demolished. When it was over, Mara was standing in the center of the corridor. She had a small cut above her left eyebrow. She was breathing slightly harder than normal. The assassins were breathing, but would not be doing much else for some time. Are you injured, Ambassador? She asked. Jorvik 9 stared at the three fallen Drevathi. At Mara. Back at the Drevathi. He processed. How? Mara looked at the bodies with the mild expression of someone reviewing completed paperwork. Left one telegraphed the energy blade swing. Middle one had a dominant stance issue, old knee injury, probably. Right one hesitated. She shrugged. Hesitation is the most dangerous habit you can have in a fight. They are 3 times your mass. Mass is a factor, Mara agreed. Not the only one. Jorvik 9's fourth heart, the small auxiliary one that Valorians used mostly for emergencies, finally stopped hammering. What is the most important factor? Mara considered this seriously. Having grown up somewhere that will kill you if you're slow, she said. Earth has bears. It has venomous insects the size of your hand. It has oceans full of things that eat each other as a primary occupation. It has weather that will freeze you, burn you, flood you, or spin you into the sky. She paused. Humans are the only species that looked at all of that and said, this seems like a good place to live. And then stayed. For 200,000 years. Jorvik 9 looked at her for a long moment. I am renegotiating your salary, he said finally. The story spread the way stories did on station networks, faster than light, louder than truth. Human Bodyguard defeats 3 Drevathi assassins in 11 seconds. By the time it reached the inner systems, it had become 12 seconds. Then 15. By the Velvet Nebula trading posts it was 25 and she had apparently done it blindfolded. Mara found this mildly amusing. They're exaggerating, she told Jorvik 9 over morning rations, 3 weeks later. They are terrified, he corrected. He was reviewing 3 separate requests from other ambassadors, all asking, some begging, for referrals to human security contractors. The Drevathi Guild has formally complained that you are an unfair combatant. Mara raised an eyebrow. They feel, Jorvik 9 said carefully, that your species' history of surviving a hostile evolutionary environment constitutes an unfair advantage in physical conflict. They want me to be less good at not dying? They want the galaxy to establish regulations. He set down his tablet. There is a serious proposal being discussed at the consortium level. Something called the Human Combat Limitation Act. Mara stared at him. It will not pass, he added quickly. I voted against it. Vigorously. She nodded slowly, looking out the viewport at the stars. We're really that scary to them. You are, Jorvik 9 said, with the diplomatic precision of a being who had spent decades choosing words carefully, exactly as terrifying as a species should be when it crawled out of a death world, taught itself mathematics, invented spacecraft, and then decided to go meet the neighbors. He folded 2 of his hands. The galaxy was not prepared. Mara was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled, the real one this time, not the combat one. Warmer. Still slightly feral at the edges, but genuinely amused. We weren't prepared either, she said. We just went anyway. 6 months into her employment, an emissary from the Galactic Security Commission arrived to conduct what they called a routine assessment of Ambassador Jorvik 9's protective arrangements. The emissary, a Vraxian, tall and self-important, looked Mara up and down with undisguised skepticism. He consulted his datapad. This is your bodyguard, he said flatly. This is Mara Ellison, Jorvik 9 said. Former Earth Special Operations. 17 conflict zones. Survived all 17. She is very small. Yes, said Jorvik 9. He had stopped finding this observation funny approximately 3 Drevathi assassins ago. She is. The Vraxian looked at Mara. Mara looked back at him with the patient, unhurried attention of something that had never needed to prove what it was. And you believe, the Vraxian said slowly, that she is adequate protection for an ambassador of your standing? Jorvik 9 thought about 11 seconds in a corridor on Kareth 4. He thought about 3 Drevathi warriors, each a decorated combatant, rendered horizontal by a human woman who stood 1.7 meters tall and had described it afterward as almost interesting. I believe, he said carefully, that she is the most dangerous thing in this room. The Vraxian laughed. Mara didn't. That, Jorvik 9 had learned, was the difference between those who understood and those who were still learning. The galaxy, slowly, was learning. Earth had not warned the stars it was coming. The stars, in retrospect, should have asked.